Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're on location at the Hollywood Museum on Highland Avenue. And waiting to be profiled are actor James Kyson and singer Sabrina Elayne Carten. Actor James Kyson was born in Seoul, Korea, and raised in New York. He graduated from Bronx School of Science and studied communications and broadcasting at Boston University. And he was at the New England Institute of the Arts. TV Guide named him one of Hollywood's 25 hottest. Can you stand that? I see you laughing. He's been on episodes of Hawaii Five-0, and he had a regular 4-year run on NBC's Heroes. You've seen him in feature films, TV shows, and on the stage. And your first hip-hop group in Boston was your theatrical, I guess, experience, was it?
Yeah, I had met these guys in college, and you know, growing up in New York, I was just a big fan of hip-hop. Music was a big part of my life, and just connected with these guys, and they wanted to start a group, and some of them were really good, and I was sort of a newbie, and they took me under their wings, and we would go around and perform at different schools, and you know, all just crowd in a minivan, and it was a really fun time.
Were they very hip in Boston?
Yeah, there was a pretty big hip hop scene in Boston, especially underground. And
oh, that's where it was.
Yeah, yeah. And,
because it doesn't seem like that was part of what was going on at Boston U.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a big college town, so there was a lot of young people, and there was a lot of culture, and I mean, Boston's known for a lot of things, especially intellectuals and a lot of academics.
Hip-hop.
Yeah, but it was definitely a fun place to, you know, try out music. And strangely enough, a couple of the guys in the group went back to Asia and became these huge stars.
Oh, they were?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, so that was their kind of springboard.
Yeah, and then I ended up coming out to LA and becoming an actor. So
did you ever go back to Korea? You were born there, but did you ever?
Yeah, I've been back to Korea 4 times. I was invited to the film festival in Busan, which is the international film festival.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to experience that for the first time, and I was really impressed by how the entertainment scene there, how big their film market has become, and you know, it's
How
sort
did
of
you
like,
feel? How did you feel going there?
It was a nice homecoming, you know, because I still speak the language. So
I wondered if you did.
Yeah, and you know, my character on the show was Japanese, so a lot of people didn't know that I was Korean until I was there and started speaking Korean.
You mean even your Korean fans didn't?
Yeah, yeah. So they were really pleasantly surprised to know that I was Korean and that I was born there. So
that was great. You did some improv work too.
Yeah.
How did
actually,
that go?
That was, you know, it's one of the scariest things as an actor, and that's actually what sort of planted the seed for me. My last year in Boston, I got to try out improv, and it was such an incredible experience. I'm like, you know what, there's something about this, and I wanted to explore more.
But it's different with actors because you like a script. You read, and you want to have your script in front of you, right?
Yeah.
And so to improv, you have to...
You're constantly on your feet. You know, it keeps you on the edge, and you know, it's one of the most terrifying but most satisfying experiences, because when it works, it's such a beautiful thing, and it's organic, and it's happening right there, and there's no way you could have planned it. But when it doesn't work, of course.
But have you written things before?
Have I written things? What do you mean, like
for plays or screenplays?
I've written poetry.
Yeah, but that's not for improv, is it?
No. I've been getting into spoken word lately, so poetry is probably the thing that I write the most.
So are you reading too, doing readings?
Yeah. I enjoy reading plays, and of course, I have to read scripts daily.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
I guess.
part of
But
my
you're
job.
in a. You said that some of your friends went back to Asia, and you came to Hollywood. You came cold.
Yeah, I came out with a one-way ticket and a single suitcase, and I didn't know anyone in Los Angeles.
How'd you have the nerve to do that?
I think it was par naivete and par cojones, and just you know, I was young and I felt like I wanted to go explore a city that I've never lived in,
And you came and studied for TV, I guess, or started in TV.
well, yeah,
How
I went
did you
to
get started?
you know. The first couple of years, I was just really having a great time just studying acting for the first
Oh,
time.
so you're taking classes?
Yeah, taking classes and doing plays and, you know, doing everything from student films to independence.
How did you know did you have friends in the industry so you knew where to go?
No, I didn't even know what a headshot and resume was. I really had no idea how any of this film and TV world worked. And I went to my first television audition. It was for a TV show called Jag, which was on CBS at the time. It's the show that NCIS spun off of. And, you know, I had a friend who had a small recurring part on ER, and he sort of kind of became my Obi-Wan.
So you found somebody.
And gave me some pointers. But it was my first time going to an actual television audition, and you know.
And you got the job.
Yeah, a few days later, I had to go to the callback, and then a few days later, I ended up being cast. So.
And then did you get an agent after that?
Yeah, I did.
Or did you need one after that?
You know, I think at the time I was being hip-pocketed by some small boutique agent.
Were you?
And, but, you know, as I started booking, I think my first 5 auditions, I ended up booking 4 of them. And
Is that, oh, you're on your own.
I think it was kind of beginner's luck. So I think she started taking me more seriously after that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You play basketball.
I do.
And soccer, you said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
But
better
you go to
at
the
basketball.
gym.
Yes, I'm better at basketball than soccer, but I got to play in a really cool charity game.
I think I'm starting to get to that point to ask you about this because of the 25 hottest you have to keep in shape. Is that why you're the hottest? I see you laughing about this, but what do? You go to the gym? Why do they think you're the hottest?
Well, yeah, you know, I had to do a film. It was a sci-fi action movie that we shot in Bulgaria, and for that movie I had to do some training, and so I got into pretty good shape for that, and then I kind of kept it on. So it's a combination of weight training, hot yoga, and just mixing up. You know, I play a lot of different sports. I love outdoor activities, hiking and scuba diving.
I said scuba diving, I think, is one of the things. But also you call Frisbee a sport.
Yeah. Not a lot of people know about it. But there is a sport called ultimate frisbee, and it's actually pretty intense. It's very cardio heavy. It's just like soccer or football with a discus. So
Really?
there's a lot of running around, and it's more of it's got a strong subculture, but it is played around the world. So I've played it in everywhere from New Zealand and Australia to Hawaii.
I didn't know that. I thought that was just a fun game on the beach.
It can be, but it can also be very competitive.
So let's talk about this new play, Sweet Karma. Tell me a little bit about it. What's the story?
Well, it's based on a true life story of a young doctor who was interned during the Cambodian Holocaust. He was tortured and lost his family and his wife to the genocide, miraculously escaped and was able to come to the United States as a refugee. And then a couple years later, got recruited by Warner Brothers for a major motion picture. And 2 years later, he won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
Is that right?
Yeah, beating out people like John Malkovich.
So who wrote it?
The play was written by a playwright named Henry Ong, and it was workshopped once in New York before. So this is sort of the true premiere.
And what role are you playing?
I'm playing the main character, the young doctor who the story is based on.
And have you been on stage for a while? Is this tough?
This is my first play in almost 8 years. You know.
Yeah, I bet it's tough, is it?
Yeah, since I started television, I haven't been on stage. So, you know, it almost feels like doing it for the first time, and it's exciting and scary, but I'm embracing it.
Did you have to take some acting coaching to do this?
I've been just kind of working out with different people, and you know, I've had different people come and sort of watch some of the rehearsals and give me notes, and it's such an interesting process because you're building everything from scratch, not only the set and the lights and the music cues, but really how the play is going to form and move together. So it's been very rewarding. It's been a lot of work, but we open on May 10th. And
where is it?
It's going to be in Burbank at a place called Grove Theater Center, GTC Theater.
Grove Theater Center,
Yeah.
yeah. And have you played this kind of a role before?
Not as this intense, and it's always interesting to play a character that's based on a real life character.
Right.
I felt a sense of responsibility, so I've been doing a lot of research, read his autobiography, watched a lot of documentaries about that time period.
What was his name?
Dr. Hang Noor. And he won the Oscar for a movie called The Killing Fields.
Yeah, of course. So
Yeah.
this is a story about him, Sweet Karma.
Yeah.
Who's directing it?
His name is Kevin Cochran. He's also the artistic director of GTC.
Oh, from the Grove Theater.
Yeah.
I see. This is very serious, and I know you do a lot of serious work, appearing on college campuses and charity work, along with, using your name and.
Yeah, it's I try to do what I can. It's one of the ways to kind of give back, and I think anytime you're given an opportunity to have a voice, you want to use it for something positive. So
I think the reason I bring this up, and also this role that you're playing of Dr.
Hang Noor,
this role is so serious. And when I started seeing some of your clips, there was this funny, crazy wig, and you were smoking a bong. And
yeah.
Cracked me up. It was like so totally different from what you're talking about.
Yeah. Because I truly love comedies, and I've been involved with, places like the Groundlings and UCB and Monkey Butler, and but this is definitely, a dramatic role, and which I also really welcome. And in some ways, it's probably the most challenging role that I've ever had to take on. And I think anytime you deal with a historical event and sort of a big tragedy, you have to work to really sort of find the humanistic themes and the hope, and even some of the lightheartedness.
If you can find it, to keep yourself going. It's human nature.
Absolutely. So we're trying to do that with the play too, that even the subject matter is very serious. He was still a human being, so we were trying to find different elements and layers of this character.
Does he see this play or do you see this play going anywhere else?
Well, we'll do the run here in LA and to see how it goes. But I think it's certainly a fascinating story, and a story that not many people know about, but I think people should know. So we'll see, what kind of shape and form it takes.
Before we leave, I was reading that you had gone back to, you go to New York all the time, you were raised there, but you went to your first fashion show. And how exciting was that?
Yeah, that was amazing.
You haven't been on the runway, though.
I've actually had to do it once in LA for a charity show, which is frightening in a whole different way. All I kept thinking was, don't trip, don't fall.
Don't trip.
I got to hand it to those models. But
when you're on stage, you don't think about don't trip, don't fall, do you?
Although you do have to be conscious, especially with this show. We have 4 different platforms that I'm always kind of going in between, so I do have to watch my step. But I think anytime you're on stage and you have an audience, it's a very exciting and frightening experience, and I think that's the energy that you sort of get from the audience and you give back, and it's an amazing thing that you can't just recreate.
I think that's so great, and I loved having you here today. Thank you so much, James.
Oh, thank you, my pleasure.
James Kyson, and we'll be right back with singer Sabrina Carten. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with vocalist, actor, New York native, Sabrina Elayne Carten. She's been on opera stages across the U.S. and Canada, singing in Showboat, Porgy and Bess. She's performed on Negro spirituals in Germany and Austria, and where she's brought down the house in Europe. They love you in Europe, don't they? But she's also worked with Mike Tyson in his stage play at the MGM Grand, and I'm going to ask you what happened there. She started with One Night with Janis at Janis Joplin in Portland, played it in Cleveland, and is at the Pasadena Playhouse right now, portraying the blues singer. And you're playing who? Nina.
Etta James, Bessie Smith, Aretha Franklin.
And how did your career start? I mean, on the opera stage, and now you're singing in Janis Joplin?
My career started at the Chautauqua Institute in upstate New York, singing a small role in Porgy and Bess with the symphony there, singing the Strawberry Woman.
Did you go to school? Did you study music?
I went to Virginia State and I majored in math. But I sang all the time.
Singing the numbers?
But I sang all the time as a child. My mother was a singer, so we always had music in the home. She sang classical music.
Oh, she did?
Yes.
So did you study opera ever?
Afterwards, after I did, I guess I had been working professionally for maybe 3 or 4 years. I went and started studying voice.
Oh, you
and
did?
Working on languages haphazardly because jobs would come in the way and I'd have to leave.
And you forget that if you study opera, you have to know language, right?
Yes.
Does it come easy to you?
No.
That's
no,
a difficult part.
I have a great coach who works with me on languages when I'm in New York.
And what kind of opera?
Basically, I'm moving into dramatic soprano, dramatic mezzo rep.
Soprano?
Mm-hmm.
Mezzo, I would think, because your voice is so low to sing the blues ladies?
No, my voice is kind of high to sing them. Luckily, we were able to maneuver keys, and I know my voice well enough to do different things with it. But
I know you've probably never sat with somebody who's actually been to the Michigan State Opera and the Mobile Opera House.
Oh, see?
I've been to both of them.
Okay.
And you've been to both of them.
I've sung at Mobile Opera. Wow, 3 or 4 times.
Is that right?
Yes,
beautiful.
3 or 4 times. It was a wonderful house, a great administrative staff down there.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And what have you done there?
I did The Crucible there with Jerome Shannon and Porgy and Bess and Showboat, and I was down there with their February student outreach program for Black History Month. We did a small thing that we put together called I Am Marian Anderson. And we did some of her arias that she sang at the Met.
You're kidding. Did you sing them?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. How did you train for that? That was beautiful.
Well, voice lessons and coachings.
So excited. How did you transform from your gospel singing to the opera?
Well, I was never really a gospel singer.
You weren't? No, it was a spiritual singer?
We grew up in church singing classical music, spirituals, anthems, and sacred songs.
So it's not the same?
So it's not the same at all. Yeah,
okay.
Gospel and spirituals are very different. Spirituals were first. And gospel comes after. You don't hear gospel music until the 20s, 30s.
Oh, so you started early, and maybe that's why Europeans understand it.
Yeah.
Because
it
has an older...
It's more melodic, it's more, Russians really get it because it's really closer to their Russian folk music. So a lot of things that we've done in Moscow
like
things
those
are well attended.
Church music?
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you sang in mine? Oh, I see. I didn't realize the difference between gospel and spiritual.
Oh, yes. And that's why I'm a member of the American Spiritual Ensemble, which was founded to keep people aware of the differences between spirituals and gospel songs.
Well, I'm glad you put us straight. Yeah, how different was being in Porgy and Bess than being on stage with Mike Tyson?
Oh, that's night and day. It was interesting. I mean, the Mike Tyson show out in Vegas was co-written and directed by Randy Johnson, and that's how I became a part of it, as well as a few members of the band that are here were also in that show, and it was different, but it was a lot of fun.
What did you do?
I sang songs to join his stories together.
I see, yeah. I see. So, and then how different was Porgy and Bess from One Night with Janis Joplin?
It's night and day.
Another night and day.
Yeah, that's really night and day. I mean, yes, I sing Summertime. That's probably the only parallel. But as far as anything else, the singing is different. Just the whole vibe of it is different.
And how do you train yourself for that?
Warming up every day, even on days when I'm not singing. I like to put my voice through the paces so that it doesn't get stagnant, because your voice can get a little atrophy, can set in singing the same stuff day after day. So you want to keep it fluid and keep it protected.
And how do you do that? Do you have
vocal
certain
exercise.
secrets? Do you have
Well,
secrets? Do you drink tea and honey? Do you drink lemon?
No, I don't do any of that. I try to drink a lot of water. I try to get some rest as much as I can and just, try to be healthy.
So the story is One Night with Janis Joplin.
Mm-hmm.
Janis Joplin, who's played by Mary Bridget
Yes.
Davies, kind of sits and talks to the audience, stands and talks to the audience, tells the story,
Right.
which is great because we understand what's going on stage. And she shows her blues influences.
Right.
And that's when you come in.
Right.
So how do you sing Bessie Smith? What do you do to make yourself Bessie Smith?
Well, I did a lot of research on these characters. I had always listened to their music. I was familiar with them. But also in listening to them, I listened to a lot of other people too. A lot of Dinah Washington and Big Mama Thornton to get an idea not only of the music but of their phrasing and take a look a little bit at the history and the time period that they were living in, which gives them a different way of moving their body, a
That's
way
what I
of
wondered.
acting. There's not, everything wasn't as open as it is right now, so you come on stage and you kind of think about, okay, I'm Bessie Smith and I'm performing in front of all of these people, but they won't let me use their bathroom or they won't let me stay in their hotel. So you have to have an inner dialogue that's going into it so that you can portray these women.
And then what about, that was very, and then wigs and costumes.
And wigs and costumes help a great deal.
What about makeup?
Makeup, I try to keep it subdued. I mean, yeah, I do put on lashes and put on some shadow and stuff, but I don't like, nothing glittery, which
But
is
do you
too
change
modern.
when you go to Nina Simone? Do you
I
change your
lipstick.
eyelashes?
No, I know, but I will change my lipstick.
You do. You change
Yeah,
your
I'll
lipstick.
change
And
my
with
lipstick.
Nina, smoother hair,
Well,
different era.
I wear a turban.
Oh.
But Nina always wore a lot of turbans, almost like Leontine Price. You never see her without a turban. Nina was the same way, either a turban or she was wearing an afro, but it's very rare to see her without something on her head.
Do you have to change your voice quality?
No, I don't do that at all. No,
Then how-
because I sing with my voice.
And then Etta James?
And Etta, I just try to think of,
Did you
young,
ever meet her?
fun-loving. No, never got to meet her, but listened to a lot of her music. I just try to think of someone who is moving into a business where there weren't any women, being on a record label where she was the only girl and having to be tough like the guys.
But she had a lot of home problems too.
Yeah, she did.
So let's start. You started with One Night with Janis Joplin in Portland.
In Portland, yes.
Did you just audition and get the role?
My agent set up the audition,
Yeah.
and I almost blew the audition off that day and didn't go.
Because
I always felt like I go to these pop calls and they love me and then I don't get hired and I've wasted car fare, pictures, and my time. So I wasn't going to go. But
how
then,
long ago was that?
right,
Years.
that years ago. But then what happened was when your agent sets up a call and you don't show up, that's problematic. So I just went and I sang. And I was turning to walk out the door, and Randy said, "Oh, what else do you have?" And I was like, "What else do I have?" Okay. And I pulled out another piece and sang something else, and he asked me to sing Amazing Grace, and I sang that, and then he said, "Will you come back to the callbacks?" And then the callbacks lasted about 2.5 hours where
Wow.
they kept putting people together and eliminating people, and then I was the last young lady there with two Janices.
Two Janices? And did you have a preference when you went in? Did you want, I want to sing with this one, or I don't want to sing with that? No?
No, they were both good, but it was funny because at the same time I had been auditioning for Porgy and Bess on Broadway and they had seen me about 6 times, and I went in for a callback for that the next day. But Randy's offer came first, and we decided, let's go and do something new. I wanted to do something different.
This was very different.
I've been singing Porgy and Bess, and I know I can do a Porgy and Bess whenever I want to. But I wanted to do something different. I wanted to try my hand somewhere else. Because music is about versatility.
And Randy Johnson wrote it, created it, and he also directed it.
Yes.
And what style of directing does he use?
He's a great director. I think he really listens to you and your opinion and works with you within your opinion to get done what he wants. So I think that's great.
Maneuvering.
Right, exactly.
But he's very well-rounded.
Very well-rounded. He's done many things, and he's very sensitive to your needs and sensitive to our various personalities.
And
which I think is great.
has great respect.
Yes,
And, yeah.
he does.
What about the audiences when you're in Portland, when you're in Cleveland, when you're in Pasadena? Pasadena, I mean, it's pretty conservative.
It is like Orange County, but
yeah, so?
for some reason, music joins everybody together. I mean, all of these audiences, I think, come in and have no idea what they're going to see. And from the time the music starts, they know that this is not the same old thing that they've seen before. And they relate to it differently. And even the most conservative audiences get up on their feet and cheer and dance and have a really good time.
And how does that affect you
Oh,
on
it
stage?
makes us just want to go even further.
Oh, it
we
does?
love it. Yeah, we love it. And even if the audience is a little more reserved,
I
we'll
was
pull them in.
Well, I was going to ask, you talk to them.
We talk to them and we pull them in, you know, and sometimes we'll have a rowdy audience that Mary has to talk to. You know, a lot. You know, people
Janice
yell
has to
things.
talk to.
Janice has to talk to. And, you know, people are yelling things and saying things, and she'll respond. I mean, we were in D.C., and you could bring drinks into the theater.
I forgot about that.
And a man dropped a beer, or a woman, and it was rolling down the aisle, and she pulled it right into the monologue. And she said, or you drop your beer, and it's rolling away from you. It was hysterical, you know, but it was perfect timing.
And people love that, don't they?
People love that. They feel like they're a part of what's going on.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it was in Washington, too. I keep saying Portland, Cleveland, Pasadena, and D.C. Arena Stage, right?
Yeah.
Which is a great place.
Great place,
How'd
and we're
you
going
like
back there.
Oh, you are?
We are going back.
So you like D.C.?
I loved it. It was really wonderful.
They have great opera, too.
They do. They do.
Maybe you'll be...
One of my friends is down there now in their Young Artist program. So, yeah, they do have wonderful opera there.
Well, I'm so glad that you came to talk to us today.
Thank you.
And you brought a new kind of way to look at spirituals, gospels, the blues singers, and Janis Joplin.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sabrina.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching today. Keep writing to the email address jaquinn1@aol.com. And we'll see you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles.